out later.
I think it's time. I think it's time to make that concrete table that I've been dreaming about for 5 years. The only question is, are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so here's the design I've come up with. It's basically just a couple of semicircles and a rectangle. How hard can that be, right? All right, let's make a mold. Just letting you know that I snapped my microphone cable off right at the start. Yay for clumsy Nicole. Okay, so I've gone to my shed and found some scrap bits of timber to see if I can just make all these boxes out of scrap. And I've also got some 3mm MDF here that's quite flexible. Once I cut this thinner, it will bend a lot more because the thinner it is, the more it will bend. So hopefully that'll be fine. Otherwise I can just cut some, what are those things called? I can route some channels into it to make it even more bendy. This might look like a desk, but no, this is a piece of laminate shelf that came out of a free cupboard that I needed for out the front. I printed up my sizings for everything and I'm gonna make sure everything can fit on here, and then I'm gonna draw them onto this piece and just keep this piece whole and like pour everything in. All right, let's measure this up and draw guidelines for where I need my edge pieces to sit. I adjusted my design plan a little to be the same thicknesses as the scrap wood I was using. Look at that. This is why you do maths in primary school, people. Geometry. All right, I've pre-marked everything to which bits I need to cut and how big. And if your brain gets a little bit messed up with cutting loads of different things like mine does, add numbers onto where it's going and the piece you're cutting. And then you'll know exactly where it goes. Huh? Genius. For the inside of all of my edge pieces, I used packing tape to create a smooth surface that wouldn't stick, but you'll see later on how I'm also getting everything to be super non-stick. I also needed to create a way that my pieces could be joined together. So I'm creating these holes at the bottom of my tower piece, shall we call it. And now I'll show you what I'm adding to help them join. All right, now in terms of actually connecting these, once I've got these all ready, I've decided I'm gonna sort of use these bolts. I don't know if it'll work, but let's hope. Basically, I'm just gonna slot these ones in here. Yeah, okay, so I'll still be able to knock this off. As long as I go from here, knock, knock, and this will slide out that way. Okay, yes. Still making sense, Nicole? Sort of. All right, so my flexible pieces of 3mm MDF are not so flexible. So we need to add some grooves in it so that it will bend more. Bend and snap, bend and snap. Hopefully I didn't snap it too much. All right, so I've just got a palm router and just a straight bit on, fairly thin straight bit, and I've just got it about 1.5 mil, so about half the thickness of this. And I'm just gonna do some straight lines. To place my bendy piece of MDF, I'm just using a hot glue gun and some scraps of timber that I cut up. And in the middle, I've just got a joining piece so that they can both butt up to that at the top of their curve. And that worked really well. We're up to knee board stage. So I've set this on the ground because this is obviously going to be heavy, and I've leveled everything up. So checked in all the sections just to make sure everything is nice and level. Now I'm going to need to put some silicone all the way around all the edges. I'm using 1 hour ready silicone. Unfortunately it's white, so it'll be hard to see, but yeah, black is definitely easier. And I've got a rounded edge that I'm going to do. So I'm going to do this smallest rounded edge, I think. Ooh, if you don't already know this trick, stick a screw in the end of your silicone or cork. Then, when you're ready to go again, you can go again. Look at that beautiful edge. It's beautiful. It's very satisfying. Are you satisfied? I'm satisfied. And now it's time to go shopping at my favourite store, Bunnings Warehouse. Alright, it is finally time to mix up this concrete and pour it in. Wow, that took me a lot longer to set up that than I thought, but we're here. Okay, so let's have a look at what I've got. I've got some white cement. I've got some play sand. I couldn't find the whitewash sand, but this is pretty much almost as white. I've got some aggregates, marbly quartz-like white gravel. So these are like a sort of a medium size. Got some fish pond pebbles. So these are just some small ones that have a few blacks and some beigey neutral tones in there. I sort of want to have this aggregate showing up. I'm going to grind it back and have a nice bit of a terrazzo kind of look. This is not rebar, but this is just some metal bar. I think I'll put this inside the long piece to give it some extra strength as well. Oh, I'm also going to spray on some of this dry silicone lubricant as my mold release. And for the star of the show, I have Bondcrete. So big thanks to Bondcrete for actually sponsoring today's video. When they reached out to me, I knew that it was something to do with concrete, but actually didn't know what it was used for. But my parents used to use this for many different applications. So I decided to have a little look and see what this stuff does. So you can use it for sealing concrete. You can also use it as a binding agent. So you can put a layer down onto old concrete or old surfaces and then pour concrete over the top, and it will help that new concrete bind to the older substrate. You can also put this inside your concrete and it gives added strength and plasticity. So that will help to be able to add less water, and it will make everything a little bit more fluid and plasticky to be able to help it flow properly into there with less water, which then therefore makes your concrete stronger. I think that's how it works anyway. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm going to be putting this in my concrete mix for strength. I'm also going to be using it to seal this piece once it's done, because it will be holding my coffee. Keep an eye out at the end of the video for how to win some Bondcrete for yourself. Okay, let's spray this silicone lubricant. This is a dry spray. And let's make it non-stick. Alright, well, we didn't stick, so that's good, I guess. Oh, okay. We are out. Okay, what do we look like on that side? We look like regular concrete. Okay, we have an air bubble there. That's totally fine. A few air bubbles, but I'm actually going to grind this down anyway, so those should end up nice and smooth. Liftable, so that's good. Yeah, wow. It's definitely looking grey at the moment, but I think once I grind it, it will look a bit more white, and all of those white stones will come out. So, yay. That's my first piece. Alright, so here is what our top looks like from straight out of the mold. We have a few little chippies here. That's totally fine. I'm going to grind this down anyway. So I'm going to start on this side. This was the top side. And I'm going to try just an orbital sander. I've got a 40 grit ceramic disc on here. See if this does anything to this. If not, I'm going to grab my angle grinder with a flat disc. I've got some lung protection and some eye protection because I do not want this in my lungs. Okay, here's how we are looking. Note to self, don't do this in the dark though, because I just took a huge chunk out of what was going to be the top. But that's okay, it'll be the underside of the top now. Oh, no. All right, what we want to do is grab the top. All right, so that's the bit where I gouged it out, even though that is the nicer top. This is gonna, actually, no, this one's cute too. All right, so I wanna work out, where does this go? Where do I put my holes? And the reason I didn't do these at the time of molding is because I knew I had to grind stuff down and I didn't know how many mil that was gonna take off. So there's method in my madness. To show where I need to put my holes, I'm using painter's tape and I'm wrapping it around the ends of the bolts with the sticky side out. And then I'm just using a lead pencil just to sort of rub around the end of the circle of the bolt, just to also give a bit of a better indication. And then I'm going to slide on some side guides and just butt this up against it and get those to stick into position. And then I'm just using something round to be able to hold it in place so I can spread them out, stick them down properly. Then I wanted to be able to show that you could drill this out with a regular drill. So this is my just regular DIY drill. I started with a small masonry bit, moved up to a large, although I did find that I had to keep swapping back and forth between the bits because they were getting a bit warm and you don't want to use warm bits. Then I decided to grab out my big boy because it just makes things so much easier. I still made sure I went really nice and slow because this one is very powerful, but I was keeping super, super slow and just letting it do its work. That was until the very last hole. I've been so careful this entire time, just going super, super, super slow. And just in this last bit, I decided to go really fast because I'm so tired. And I just broke it. And now I want to cry. Oh my god. It's time for a coffee and some food, I think. I'm so over this. Alright, so after having my one tear slowly dribble out of my cheek, I went and had some breakfast and a coffee and a little sulk, and then after a while I came back, picked up my pieces that I'd sort of like just wrangled that were the biggest pieces where I knew where they'd come out of. I've got 3 big pieces here. I basically line these up and slot those in there. I reckon I can pretty much hide this, and I can do a bit of kintsugi. Is that how you say it? Yeah, I must look that up, how to pronounce kintsugi.
Kintsugi.
Let's try and epoxy this together, and hopefully that will work. All right, let's go. Let's get this thing done. Okay, so I have filled this hole with this epoxy, and we'll see if that sort of just creates a new bond for me. I do need to re-drill this hole again, so that will be fun. This is probably how I should have shored up my pieces before I drilled the holes, but I'm making sure to go super slow this time and not mess it up. This is Sally's Liquid Nails Rapid Cure Ultimate Strength. You don't necessarily need the Rapid Cure, but I got to get this thing done and get this video out to you guys. All right, let's glue this thing together. Okay, right, I've put on the base. I missed filming that bit because as I stepped over this whole thing, I tripped. And literally, like, holding the base, I smashed into the ground over there, hitting the whole corner and both of my knees. So, by some miracle, it only chipped a tiny bit off the corner, but my knees are not feeling too good. Anyway, so I put it on without filming. I'm gonna wait for that to cure and then seal it. No, you're not there yet. Let's do one more step. I've laid this down. What I'm gonna do is do cement in all of the joins and any of the chipped out bits. So I'm gonna start with this bit and then I'll flip it over so I can access the whole rest. Hopefully the cement stays in here. And I'm gonna put a little bit of Bondcrete, just paint it in here. Just the straight undiluted, and let that sit for a little bit so it gets tacky, and then put it in, and that will ensure it sticks really well. huge shout out to our sponsor of today's video, Bondcrete by Bondle. This stuff is magic, and I'm so glad I had the opportunity to work with them, because I don't think I ever would have made this concrete table without them getting in contact. So thank you. And if you want to get some Bondcrete in your hot little hands, all you need to do, I've got 6 bottles to give away for Australian based viewers, and I also have some stickers for our international viewers, and I've also got a cute little beanie which is amazing for keeping concrete dust out of your hair, by the way. All you need to do is like the video, make sure you're subscribed. It is always free to subscribe, and comment down below. Bondcrete is amazing. You also need to fill out the form in the description so I know where to contact you, so I can send you your prize if you happen to be a winner.